Hello everyone. So I just wanted to show you a little project I've been working on for the last month or so. This is a great project that you can do for plants in the middle of the winter, which is great because that's when there's not much else to do. It also works out great because it is just taking cuttings, which is something that you're probably already doing in the middle of the winter if you have a bunch of plants like this, or maybe you know someone that has a bunch of extra cuttings as well that you could use. So what I'm working on is propagating new plants from cuttings through using bottom heat. The idea behind this is basically to trick the stick into thinking that it is summer where the roots are, and that it is still winter at the tops. This will get them to grow their roots and not grow their leaves. Part of what makes cuttings not work is that they're spending too much energy growing their leaves and not enough energy growing their roots. So I'm going to show you what I have so far. I put these in here a month ago, and I'll show you my setup. So first of all, the first thing you want is a heating mat. Just like a regular plant heating mat. Costs like $20, $25. You can find those online. That is the only thing I had to buy for this. The other thing you need is a bin. Just something to hold the plants in. And then also a medium for growing them. There are a few options here. You don't want anything very rich in nutrients or anything. You really just want something that can breathe so that air can get in there so that it holds a little moisture and basically holds them where they are. So some suggestions would be perlite, river sand. What I am using is coco coir, and that seems to be working quite well. It's just like the shells of coconuts. You can get that online as well. And I put a little insulation here too so that I didn't lose too much heat. One of the things that didn't work out too great was that it's actually a little overheated, so I don't think that step is even that necessary. But I'm just experimenting. This is my first time doing it. So I took cuttings. From elderberries, pawpaws, mulberries, apples, pears, grapes, and peach. No rhyme or reason. Those are just the things that I had cuttings of already. And it didn't take too much extra energy to put it in here because I was already cutting them off the tree. One thing you want to make sure is when you take the cutting, you want to make sure that you have a couple nodes or buds. I aimed for about 3. You should be fine with 2. And you can do more if you want to be on the safe side. I filled the bin up about halfway so that they have plenty underground and it's warm, and plenty above. I made it so closed too in case it got too cold any night. I don't want it to get too cold. But I'd never closed it and never really needed to. And I put about 132 sticks in here. So if I get, just 10%, that's 13 plants. That's already a great amount of plants for not very much effort or energy. So far, a month in, I've actually pulled out about 15 plants that have roots growing. Once they have roots growing, they're almost always successful. The ones that I've been able to pull out so far are elderberries. The apples I haven't quite pulled out, but they are growing some roots. The mulberries have been doing fantastic. The pears have been doing great. And the grapes have also been doing great. So this works for a lot of different things. I think the peach will still work. I'm not sure about the pawpaws. They're a little bit slower. So I think that's all I have. I'll just head in and I'll show you some of the plants I have inside already growing that I pulled out either this week or last week. And I'll keep you updated as they grow more. Alright, so here are some of the sticks that I have brought in. Most of these are brought in today. These are grapes, mulberries, and then I have some elderberries and pears to show you. Once you take them out of the growing medium, you can just go ahead and put them in potting soil so the roots can grow and the plants can grow. Right over here we have an elderberry that I took out last week, so you can see it has some green growing on it already. And here they are. So now they're okay to be inside. They can grow. You can let the tops grow, and the roots should keep up, I am hoping. But like I said, this is my first time doing it. Just a couple more things before I let you go that I wanted to mention. One is how moist you do or do not want it in here. Mostly you want it drier. So I have one of these moisture tests. It's totally not necessary. You can just feel it feels a little damp, not much. But if you have one of these, I've been aiming before between a 1 and 3. But you want it pretty dry. A couple of them have been kind of rotting, so maybe even that's a little too wet. I'm not sure. But it's going pretty well, so it seems like it's pretty close. The other thing is before I put them in here, I wanted to mention that I put them in a honey water mix first, and then put them in there. This is supposed to help stimulate root growth. So I did 1 cup of water to a tablespoon of honey, and just let them sit in there for a couple minutes before I put them in the medium. And the last thing I wanted to say is I got all these ideas on doing this from Sean from Edible Acres. He has a bit more of a fancy setup than this, but he's a great resource. I recommend you check him out. He has a lot more in-depth detail on this type of stuff. So thank you for listening. I hope you find this helpful. And if you want to start anything like this, please feel free to reach out if you have any questions. All right, thanks. Bye.